Their activities are not limited to intimidation, assassination, and torture. And while these are certainly the most egregious of their actions, they also engage in more subtle activities which have equally damaging political consequences. On the political front, these activities are designed to present to the world a different face of Iran, to depict those that stand up for democracy, for basic human rights, such as freedoms of expression and association, to be free from arbitrary arrest and detention, as well as torture. The MOIS will depict these people as subversives, as terrorists. Now, this is done in a rather futile attempt to shape world opinion, make it beneficial to their own cause and their ideals. Now, that's failing, obviously. It then becomes an effort, at a minimum, to get the world to turn a blind eye towards their regime's atrocities. And they don't just do that in the region or in their own country. They do it across the globe. They have far-reaching efforts. The situation in Camp Ashraf and the recent massacre which occurred there only 3 months ago is a perfect example in terms of what the MOIS is able to do in attempting to shape world opinion. It's been their consistent maligning of the MEK as a subversive and terrorist organization. This in direct contravention to the multiple reports, both here in the United States and internationally, that have provided the true story behind the massacre which occurred, and the reality of the MEK as a peace-loving, pro-democratic, non-violent organization seeking only to promote a pluralist system with freedom of speech, assembly, and political parties, a separation of church and state, and gender equality. While the Iranian regime would like us to believe that the massacre was in fact provoked, or that it did not even occur, both the UN High Commission for Human Rights, as well as the Spanish National Court, as well as Congress, other international organizations know the truth. They've condemned the massacre, calling for both international as well as Iraqi investigations and for greater protections for the residents of Camp Ashraf, as stipulated in the Multinational Force Iraq Agreement of July 2004, also in Article 45 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, which recognizes the residents of Ashraf as protected persons and is called for recently in the House Resolution 332. In his annual report to the UN Security Council just a week ago, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called for respecting the human rights of Ashraf residents and urged for a consensus solution to the situation. In addition, as has been pointed out previously, the House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee unanimously approved an amendment to the Foreign Relations Authorization Act that makes it a policy of the U.S. to, quote, take all necessary and appropriate steps to prevent the forcible relocation of Camp Ashraf residents inside Iraq and facilitate the robust presence of the UN assistance mission in Iraq in Camp Ashraf. The residents of Camp Ashraf have called this their home for over 25 years. But still, they're being massacred, they're being abused, they're being denied their basic human rights. Iraq has called for the forcible dispersal of the residents of Camp Ashraf. Now, one can only imagine what would happen to them if they were forcibly moved to a remote location in Iraq away from the international community's watchful eyes. Recent comments by the U.S. ambassador in Iraq appear to endorse this proposal.